open oneself to Surah 4, 163 and 164, I think is what we're going to go over, but let me open with a bit from the evening rite. In the name Shut, name by which the elements are overturned, the air is sundered, Adoni, the fire is generated, the sea rolls back, yea, and the earth moves, and all things celestial, terrestrial, and of things infernal doth tremble and are confounded. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me. So did every spirit of the firmament and in the aether, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of a rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Inna auhayna leika kama auhayna la Nuhin wa namiyana min ba'de wa auhayna la Ibrahima wa Ismaila wa Ishaqa wa Yaquba wa Asbate wa Isa Ayuba wa Yunusa wa Haruna wa Sulaimana wa Atayna Dauda wa Zabur wa Rasulan qad Pasasnahum alayka min qablu wa rusulalam naqsushum alayka wa kullama lahum Musa taklima. Now, my voice is getting to me because of the air quality issues the past several weeks or something, but one of the things about this verse is, so we have a listing of some prophets, including Solomon, but we're reminded, I threw in this second verse to complete that idea, is that we're reminded that there's messenger and exemplar prophets and those sorts, sages, all sorts of things that we are not, we don't know about. So the listing of whatever we have, that's not it, and that's not the point. It's basically the overall lessons of their teachings and their stories and that sort of things. So let me turn off the recording. And now I have opened the chat. Last program was War Upon an Eastern Star. This is Shesil Comes in Quardag. So what are your thoughts about?
Honestly, the prophecy that you just read, it's like I couldn't get any sense out of it. I guess that might not be the right word to use, but I did get like inner messages like crazy.
Well, there's two aspects of it. Is one, okay, they come down and there's perhaps a lie or something, but the lie isn't necessarily what's said; it's the thought about it or something. But it's very vague in parts. Well, all of them are vague, and that's sort of the thing. Because if you think about it, it's either become true or it's going to come true at some point. What did I think about? Is I thought about, for example, the Uyghurs, and then it talks about, the situation. China has a list of 52 official tribes, and pure ancestry is anything other than those pure tribes in a pure sense. I mean, they know your ancestors. They can look that up, and if you don't have pure ancestries of 52 you can be a blend of those 52 tribes, but you have to be purely those 52 tribes in China, or you lose some of your rights. I'm seeing very specifically related this relating to
the things that
relating to the Ukraine situation. Ukraine has done the same thing in multiple ways. This seems to hint towards that, is that that Ukraine has done the same thing. Here are 6 official tribes, and we're not going to let anybody have full rights except these tribes. And we know your ancestors, so just like Hitler did, we're going to look at your ancestry, 8 generations. And if you have anybody who's not purely one of these tribes, you're going to lose some of your rights. And what happens with one of the lines is, okay, some of these terms, you have to know what these terms mean, I guess. So basically the real big end false Messiah, Antichrist, whatever you want to call it. So there's a faker to the Antichrist, and I think that the Saudi king, maybe the Saudis may be fixing themselves up to be like the fake Antichrist. And then the real one's going to come and it's like, how dare you, you puny whatever the case is, I think it's not going to go over well for them in even that respect. And so the jinn are the fallen angels, or whatever you want to call them, the fire beings. I like to just call them fire beings because it doesn't put that theological bent of whether they're the fallen or the loyal angels. And then there's a dispute, should we even use the words, because the English is confusing. The number that was brought, there was other numbers brought up. So the number 666, I did videos as probably more than anybody on YouTube, 603 that playlist. I probably did more than anybody ever did as far as I've seen released in media, giving as far as detail. Here are verses, here are words. It's not all bad. And but like people fear the number, and that's the issue. So you see the numbers that are brought up here. Are we talking about the straight line chakras? Are we talking about we're definitely talking about the directions. We're talking about the 5, so it's a hand of fat. Are we talking about the angelic connection to the Shia in particular with their little, sometimes when they give speeches between 2 little things where there's a hand on each side of them. Some of them do. And I mean, that's not necessary, but it's more of a symbol among them. So is it talking about something to arise up amongst them? Something happening in the area of Greece, but something tragically happening in the sea. Remember, we talked about Poseidon. That's not the official name, but that's its nickname. The nickname for that fleet of nuclear weapons with 200 megaton warheads that are going to cause things. If that happens, somebody who remembers this is going to say, "Yep, that was there." But see, if you were close enough to the waves to know that we may be without power when all that goes down. But it's continuing the idea that some stuff's going to happen, and some stuff is going to. But see, could the 3 woes, could they all be natural, or and the artificial stuff? We'd be like, what? We did all this stuff, and we were going to mostly die anyways. Volcanoes and asteroids, and who knows what else could happen, right? Solar flares.
Well, I thought the inner messages that I got when you were reading that, it's like I couldn't make sense out of it, but it was like inside my thoughts were like, it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
And one of the things is a point that I'd just like to make with this, that